Listen, I'm about to tell you something that the fashion industry has been hiding from women over 60 for decades. Something so simple, yet so powerful that it will completely transform how you see yourself in the mirror every single morning. If you're a petite woman who's been told your best years are behind you, if you've been made to feel invisible, or if you've ever stood in your closet feeling like nothing looks right anymore, stay until the very end. Because what I'm about to share isn't just about clothes. It's about reclaiming a power that society tried to take from you the moment you turned 60. And that final tip, it's going to change everything you thought you knew about aging gracefully. Hidden truth. Here's what nobody wants to admit. The fashion world has been lying to you. They've been feeding you this narrative that once you hit 60, you should disappear into beige cardigans and sensible shoes. That your body, your style, your presence should somehow become smaller, quieter, less noticeable. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Being petite and over 60 isn't a limitation. It's your secret weapon. I've spent years watching women shrink themselves, literally and figuratively, because they believed the lie that their time for beauty, for boldness, for making an impact had passed. But every single day, I see women in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who understand something profound. Your size has nothing to do with the space you deserve to take up in this world. Your age has nothing to do with your right to be seen, admired, and celebrated. The fashion industry wants you to believe that petite women over 60 should blend into the background. They want you to think that your options are limited, that you should be grateful for whatever scraps of style they throw your way. But what if I told you that some of the most powerful, magnetic, absolutely stunning women I know are petite women over 60 who have cracked the code? Women who walk into rooms and command attention not in spite of their age and size, but because they've learned to harness them as their greatest assets. Inner power. See, this isn't really about fashion at all. This is about something much deeper. This is about the relationship you have with your own reflection. This is about the voice in your head that either lifts you up or tears you down every time you get dressed. This is about whether you see yourself as someone who deserves to be beautiful, confident, and powerful, or someone who should just be thankful to be comfortable. I want you to think about the last time you looked in the mirror and felt truly, genuinely excited about what you saw. Not just, this will do, or I guess this is fine for my age. I'm talking about that feeling when everything just clicks, when you see yourself and think, yes, this is me, this is who I am. When was the last time you felt that? For too many women, that feeling becomes a distant memory sometime around 60. Society starts sending you these subtle messages that your time for that kind of confidence has passed. Your daughters might start giving you helpful suggestions about what's age-appropriate. Store clerks might start directing you toward the mature section without even asking what you're looking for. And slowly, bit by bit, you start believing that maybe they're right. Maybe it is time to tone it down, to play it safe, to become invisible. But here's what I know to be absolutely true. The most magnetic people in any room aren't necessarily the youngest or the tallest or the ones wearing the most expensive clothes. They're the ones who have figured out how to dress their truth. They're the ones who understand that style isn't about following rules. It's about breaking them in a way that feels authentically, powerfully you. First revelation. So let's start with the first thing you need to understand about dressing a petite frame over 60. Proportion is your superpower, but not in the way you think. Everyone's going to tell you that as a petite woman, you need to wear smaller patterns, shorter jackets, lower heels. They're going to hand you a list of rules about what you can and can't wear because of your height. But here's what they're not telling you. The goal isn't to make yourself look taller. The goal is to make yourself look intentional. When you understand proportion, you understand that every single element of your outfit is either adding to your presence or detracting from it. A blazer that hits at just the right point on your torso doesn't just make you look taller. It makes you look like you know exactly what you're doing. A pant length that creates a clean line doesn't just elongate your legs. It makes you look polished, sophisticated, like someone who pays attention to details. But here's the revolutionary part. You get to decide what those proportions are. You get to experiment. You get to try things that the rule books say you shouldn't. Because when you're 60 plus, you've earned the right to make your own damn rules. You've earned the right to wear what makes you feel powerful, even if some 25-year-old fashion blogger thinks it's wrong for your body type. The most stylish petite women I know understand that proportion is about creating harmony, not following a formula. They might wear a longer blazer if it makes them feel sophisticated, even though the rules say they should wear a cropped one. They might choose wide-leg pants because they love the way the fabric moves, even though they've been told that straight legs are more flattering for their height. They understand that the most important proportion is the one between their clothes and their confidence. Deep secret. And this brings me to something that's going to sound controversial, but I need you to hear it. The biggest mistake petite women over 60 make isn't choosing the wrong clothes. It's choosing clothes for the wrong reasons. They're dressing to hide, to minimize, to avoid being noticed for the wrong reasons. But here's what I've learned after years of watching women transform their relationship with style. When you dress to hide, you end up hiding from life itself. I see women who choose black because they think it's slimming, when what they really need is color that brings light to their face. I see women who choose loose, shapeless clothes because they think it's more flattering, when what they really need is structure that celebrates their form. I see women who choose sensible shoes because they think that's what they should wear at their age, when what they really need is something that makes them feel like they can conquer the world. The fashion industry has taught you to see your body as a collection of flaws to be hidden. Your petite frame becomes something to compensate for. Your age becomes something to disguise. But what if, instead of trying to look like someone else's idea of beautiful, you decided to look like the most powerful version of yourself? This isn't about ignoring practical considerations. Of course, comfort matters. Of course, you want to choose clothes that work with your lifestyle, but there's a difference between choosing comfort and choosing invisibility. There's a difference between being practical and being apologetic about taking up space in the world. Revolutionary shift. Here's the second thing that's going to change everything. Color is not your enemy. I know. You've been told that as you get older, you should stick to neutrals. You've been told that bright colors are too much, too attention-grabbing, too young. But here's what they're not telling you. The right colors don't make you look older or younger. They make you look alive. Your skin, your hair, your eyes, they've all changed since you were 30. And that's not something to mourn, it's something to work with. The colors that made you glow at 30 might not be the same colors that make you glow at 65, and that's perfectly fine. But the solution isn't to retreat into a world of beige and gray. The solution is to discover what your new palette is. I've watched women in their 60s and 70s discover that they look incredible in colors they never would have tried in their younger years. A deep emerald green that brings out silver hair. A rich burgundy that complements mature skin. A bold royal blue that makes eyes sparkle in a way they never did before. These women understand that color isn't about looking younger. It's about looking vibrant, alive, present. But here's the deeper truth. Choosing to wear color after 60 is an act of rebellion. It's a refusal to disappear. It's a statement that you're not done living, not done being seen, not done making an impact. Every time you choose a color that makes you feel confident, instead of a neutral that makes you feel safe, you're making a choice about how you want to move through the world. Hidden strategy. The third revelation is about fit. And this is where most women get it completely wrong. They think that as a petite woman over 60, everything needs to be tight to show their figure, or everything needs to be loose to be comfortable. But the real secret is about understanding where you want to create definition and where you want to create flow. Your body at 60 plus is not the same as your body at 30, and that's not a failure, it's just a fact. But somewhere along the way, you were taught to see every change as something to hide, every difference as something to be ashamed of. What if instead you saw these changes as an opportunity to discover new ways to feel beautiful? The most stylish petite women over 60 understand that fit is about creating a silhouette that feels authentically them. Maybe that's a fitted blazer with flowing pants. Maybe it's a dress that skims your body without clinging. Maybe it's a structured top with a soft skirt. The key is understanding that you get to choose which parts of your body you want to highlight and which parts you want to de-emphasize. Not because those parts are flawed, but because that's how you feel most like yourself. This is also about understanding that tailoring is your best friend. A $50 dress that's been altered to fit your body perfectly will always look better than a $500 dress that almost fits. As a petite woman, you probably already know that most clothes are made for someone taller than you. But instead of seeing this as a limitation, see it as an opportunity to make every piece uniquely yours. Personal truth. Here's something I need you to understand on a deeper level. Your style at 60 plus isn't about trying to recapture who you were at 30. It's about expressing who you've become. You've lived through decades of experiences that have shaped you, taught you, changed you. Your style should reflect that wisdom, that depth, that complexity. I see so many women trying to dress like their younger selves, as if moving forward in style somehow means moving backward in time. But the most magnetic older women I know aren't trying to look younger. They're trying to look like themselves, the fullest, most authentic, most powerful version of themselves. This means embracing elements that feel sophisticated without feeling staid. It means choosing pieces that have interesting details, unexpected textures, or unique silhouettes. It means understanding that age-appropriate doesn't have to mean boring. It can mean elegant, interesting, complex, nuanced, all the things you've become over the decades. Your style should tell the story of a woman who has lived, who has learned, who has grown into her own power. It should reflect someone who is comfortable in her own skin, who knows what she likes, who isn't apologizing for taking up space in the world. This kind of authenticity is magnetic in a way that trying to look 30 never could be. Fourth insight. The fourth game changer is about accessories, but not in the way you think. Most style advice for women over 60 focuses on what jewelry to wear or which handbag is appropriate. But here's what I want you to understand. Accessories are your opportunity to inject personality, humor, surprise, and joy into every outfit. As a petite woman, accessories can create visual interest and draw the eye exactly where you want it. But more importantly, they can be expressions of who you are beyond your age, beyond your size, beyond anyone else's expectations. That statement necklace that makes you smile every time you see it. Those earrings that remind you of a trip you took or a person you love. The scarf that adds just the right pop of color or pattern. The key is choosing accessories that feel like extensions of your personality, not like costumes you're putting on. You don't need to pile on jewelry because someone told you it's sophisticated. You don't need to carry a tiny purse because someone said it's more proportional for your frame. You need to choose pieces that make you feel more like yourself, not less. And here's something revolutionary. At 60 plus, you can wear accessories that would have felt too bold, too statement-making, too attention-grabbing when you were younger. You've earned the right to be interesting. You've earned the right to be noticed. You've earned the right to wear things simply because they bring you joy. Breaking barriers. This brings me to the fifth truth, and it's about shoes. I know what you're thinking. Here comes the lecture about comfortable shoes and sensible heels. But that's not what this is about at all. This is about understanding that your shoes are the foundation of every outfit, literally and metaphorically. The right shoes can make you feel grounded and confident, or they can make you feel off balance and uncertain. As a petite woman over 60, you need shoes that support you physically and emotionally. But here's what that actually means. It means choosing shoes that make you feel capable, powerful, ready to take on whatever the day brings. Maybe that's a low heel that gives you height and confidence. Maybe it's a flat that's so comfortable and stylish you feel like you could walk for miles. Maybe it's an ankle boot that makes you feel edgy and contemporary. The key is understanding that comfort doesn't have to mean boring, and style doesn't have to mean suffering. I've watched women transform their entire presence simply by changing their shoes. When you're wearing shoes that make you feel confident, you walk differently, you carry yourself differently, you take up space differently. And when you're petite, the way you carry yourself makes all the difference in how you're perceived and how you feel about yourself. Emotional core. The sixth insight is the most important, and it's about understanding that your relationship with clothes is really your relationship with yourself. Every morning when you get dressed, you're making choices about how you want to feel that day, how you want to be seen, how you want to move through the world. For too many women over 60, getting dressed becomes an exercise in limitation. What can't I wear? What won't look good? What will people think? But what if instead it became an exercise in possibility? What makes me feel confident? What brings me joy? What expresses who I am? This shift in mindset changes everything. Instead of standing in front of your closet thinking about what's wrong with your body, you start thinking about what's right with your life. Instead of focusing on hiding flaws, you start focusing on expressing your personality. Instead of trying to disappear, you start trying to shine. The most stylish women I know, regardless of age or size, have made peace with their bodies and focused on expressing their spirits. They understand that style is not about perfection, it's about authenticity. They know that the goal isn't to look like everyone else, it's to look like the best version of themselves. Deep wisdom. And this connects to something deeper that I need you to understand. Your worth as a woman is not diminished by your age or determined by your size. Society will try to tell you otherwise. The fashion industry will try to convince you that your value decreases with every passing year. But that's not just wrong, it's dangerous. When you start believing that your beauty, your worth, your right to be seen and celebrated somehow expires at a certain age, you start living smaller. You start choosing clothes that help you hide rather than clothes that help you shine. You start seeing yourself as less than, instead of seeing yourself as evolved. But here's what I know to be true. A woman who has lived 60 plus years has a depth, a complexity, a richness that cannot be replicated by youth. Your experiences have shaped you into someone unique, someone with stories to tell, wisdom to share, love to give. Your style should reflect that richness, not apologize for it. When you choose clothes that make you feel powerful, confident, and authentically yourself, you're not just changing your wardrobe. You're changing the message you send to the world and to yourself about your value, your worth, your right to take up space and be celebrated. Final revolution. Here's the seventh and final truth, the one that ties everything together. The most stylish petite women over 60 understand that rules are made to be broken, but only after you understand why they exist in the first place. You've probably heard all the rules about dressing a petite frame, about age-appropriate fashion, about what you should and shouldn't wear after 60, and some of those rules might actually serve you. But others are just limitations disguised as guidance, restrictions disguised as advice. The real power comes from understanding the principle behind each rule and then deciding whether that principle serves your goals. The rule might say, petite women should avoid long coats, but the principle is about proportion and creating a balanced silhouette. If you find a long coat that makes you feel elegant and sophisticated, and you know how to style it in a way that creates the silhouette you want, then wear the damn coat. The rule might say women over 60 should avoid trendy pieces, but the principle is about choosing timeless over temporary. If there's a current trend that genuinely speaks to your personality and makes you feel confident, and you can incorporate it in a way that feels authentic to you, then embrace it. The most stylish women understand that they are the final authority on what works for their bodies, their lives, their personalities. They might seek advice, they might consider guidelines, but they never surrender their power to decide what makes them feel beautiful, confident, and authentically themselves. Ultimate truth. So here's what I want you to remember every single morning when you get dressed. You are not dressing a limitation. You are not dressing an apology. You are dressing a woman who has lived, who has learned, who has earned the right to take up space in this world exactly as she is. Your petite frame is not something to compensate for. It's something to celebrate. Your age is not something to disguise. It's something to honor. Your unique combination of experiences, wisdom, personality, and style is not something to minimize. It's something to amplify. The world needs women who refuse to disappear, who insist on being seen, who understand that beauty and power and worth are not limited by age or size or anyone else's narrow definitions. The world needs women who get dressed every morning with the intention of showing up fully, authentically, powerfully as themselves. Every time you choose clothes that make you feel confident instead of invisible, every time you pick colors that make you feel alive instead of safe, every time you select pieces that express your personality instead of hiding it, you're making a statement. You're saying that you matter, that you deserve to be seen, that you refuse to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. This is bigger than fashion. This is about reclaiming your power, your presence, your right to be celebrated for exactly who you are right now. This is about understanding that your best years aren't behind you. They're right here, right now, in this moment when you decide to stop apologizing for taking up space and start celebrating the incredible woman you've become. So tomorrow morning, when you open your closet, I want you to ask yourself one question. What would I wear if I knew, without a doubt, that I deserve to be seen, celebrated, and admired exactly as I am? And then I want you to wear that. Because you do deserve it. You always have. And it's time you started believing it.